Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to today's online showcase for women business owners and for the launch of our online marketplace for women business owners in Northern California. For those of you who don't already know me, I'm Joanne Friedland Roberts, and I'm going to be leading today's webinar with my co-founder and business partner, Peggy Doyle, and with our new partners from California Capital, Mike Schremer and Sophia Kanan. We're really thankful that you're all here today because I know that it's a challenging time. And California Capital and What Now What Next have partnered to really be here to support women business owners as we all move through this very challenging and very rapidly changing time together. Our aim is really to make it easier for you to do business online, to find new ways to connect with customers and clients online, and to take advantage of all of the opportunities that our marketplace offers. So many of you already have listings in our marketplace and you know something about it. For those of you who don't, we've created the marketplace to enable you to share listings for your products and services, to sell your products and services if you choose to do that, to share your expertise with each other, to join up, team up, go after business together. And most of all, our aim is providing as many resources as we can to support women entrepreneurs to keep going, to keep growing. And we really want to come together and support all of us so that we can thrive through this really new time for all of us.
So over the next hour and a half, you're going to meet the team at California Capital, and you're going to hear about the ways they can help you survive and thrive with their business development services, their counseling, their courses and workshops, and access to financing. You're also going to learn how to showcase your own business using our marketplace and create a powerful presence that can reach more clients and customers. You're going to meet 9 really incredible women entrepreneurs who are part of our amazing community and have a lot of wisdom to share. They're going to share their journey about how they became entrepreneurs, what they're doing right now, and how what they know can help you survive and thrive in this climate. And then after you meet the entrepreneurs, we're going to have a roundtable where we open it up for a conversation. We are going to take questions from the audience, and we think it's going to be a really full morning. So thank you for joining us, and let's get started. I'd like to introduce now Mike Schremer and Sophia Kanan from California Capital.
Hi, everybody, and thank you, Peggy and Joanne. Happy to be here today for this launch. I just wanted to say a few words about California Capital for anyone who's not familiar. We are a community development financial institution, or CDFI, based in Sacramento. We serve Northern California and throughout California through our various programs. So we have a women's business center, a procurement technical assistance center. We're also administrators of the state loan guarantee program, and we have our own revolving loan funds that we put out into the community in order to help build, as our mission states, capital and capacity within those communities. So our main services that we provide on an ongoing basis are one-on-one counseling, business training and technical assistance. I've listed them here. And then we also provide loans and loan guarantees. So our focus is to be able to provide access to capital for small businesses, and also the technical assistance needed to maintain and grow your business. And that's what we do day in and day out. I want to introduce the director of our Women's Business Center, Sophia Kanan, and she's going to say a few words about the center and what we do here.
Thank you, Mike. And thank you to everybody that is with us on the call. We are very, very excited about this new resource that we're able to introduce to you. This has been a long time coming, and so we are really excited to talk about it. But I just want to spend a moment to talk to you a little bit about the Women's Business Center and the services that we provide and how we can assist you. The Women's Business Center is, first, let me start, not just open to women. It is open to anyone and everyone that is looking to start, grow, expand, pivot your business, whatever it is that you're looking to do, we can assist you at the Women's Business Center. Although, of course, our goal is to always assist and to grow the numbers in terms of women entrepreneurs. And we've been doing that. And so, but we also, again, I just want to reiterate that our services are absolutely available to anybody. And at the Women's Business Center, we provide trainings and one-on-one counseling. Before COVID-19, we would host in-house anywhere from 3 to 9 trainings a week. We have still kept up that same momentum, or at least we're trying to do the same in terms of webinars. All of the webinars that we conduct, for the most part, most of our webinars, with the exception of ones that result in certifications, are of no cost. So if you're looking to access some trainings about different topics related to small business, definitely check out our calendar and check out our website, which is on your screen right there. So I encourage you to poke around on the calendar, on the website, to definitely see what kind of services we can offer. And if you don't see a training there that you feel could be helpful to you, especially during this time, I encourage you to also reach out to us, reach out to me directly, and let me know what it is exactly that you need. We work with over 150 instructors around the area that provide their services to us because they are subject matter experts in different fields. So again, if there's a topic that you really feel as though you need, reach out to me and I will do my best to search for an instructor that can provide a webinar, because chances are there's also someone else that probably needs that information as well. And then we also offer one-on-one counseling. And with that, so one second, I want to go back. You're also going to have a chance to meet one of our really awesome instructors, Ms. Tina Reynolds, who does all of our social media classes. So I want to highlight her for a second and want to say thank you for participating in today. And I think it's really awesome how our paths always cross, especially when we do this kind of work together. So thank you, Tina, for participating. And if you're ever interested in a social media class that they do, we do have a Facebook one coming up. I believe on June 25th, which is on our calendar. So you'll have a chance to connect with Tina even more. So we also offer one-on-one counseling. So if you're interested in that, I encourage you to sign up on our website, where you can actually connect one-on-one with a business counselor to go over anything that you need to go over, a business plan, a marketing strategy, anything whatsoever. So again, reach out to us. I can go on and on forever about the services that we can provide for you, but our contact information is there on the screen. I will also add my personal contact information into the chat, so always feel free to reach out to me. Any small business related question, we're definitely here to assist you. And thank you, Peggy and Joanne, and to all of our panelists for being with us again, and to everybody that's on the call. Again, my name is Sophia Canan, and I'm the director for the Women's Business Center.
So thank you so much, Sophia and Mike. Peggy and I are so grateful to have you as business partners so that we can reach out to even more women in California. And today we're going to be talking with 9 of the women who are part of the new Northern California marketplace that we've created with California Capital. They're going to be sharing their entrepreneurial journeys, tell you a little bit about their businesses, and you're going to find out how you can do business with them too. So I'm really excited about starting our conversation, and we're going to start off with Danielle Marshall. And Danielle is a U.S. Air Force veteran who's also a counselor at California Capital. She's the former president of the Natomas Chamber of Commerce and the owner of M4 Group, a business development company. So today, Danielle is going to share with us a bit about her work at California Capital, tell us about M4 Group. And Danielle, thank you so much for being with us today. I know that when we talked the other day, you told me that you were injured in the line of duty in the Air Force, and that compelled you to change your career, and you decided that you wanted to become an entrepreneur. And one of the things that you said that I found really interesting was that you really work with women to take ownership of who they are and to be non-apologetically who they are in the world, which is something that women often have trouble doing. So thank you for that. Can you tell us how that's driven your work as an entrepreneur and your work with women at California Capital?
Definitely. Thank you, Joanne. So I think that we as women oftentimes, we're comfortable with, kind of taking care of things and making sure things work, and we want to fix things, but we're really uncomfortable about standing in the spotlight when that happens, myself included. And so I'm thankful that we at M4 Group and I personally am able to work with women at California Capital, because oftentimes we don't even understand that what we have, or what our gifts are those that are able to create an actual viable business. We often are comfortable with simply status quo. One of the most difficult conversations I have with business owners, specifically women business owners, is valuing their time and valuing their products and services that they bring to the marketplace, and not because they're not good at what they do, but they understand that they're good at what they do, so they have a really hard time putting a value on that. And so I think that people really need to understand their value and understand what they have, that product or service is able to change the business landscape. Through California Capital, I'm able to teach and equip and empower other business owners and women business owners specifically with everything from startup idea discussions all the way to succession. With M4 Group, we're able to work with a plethora of businesses and professionals all around the country, and even those with an international footprint. And so I'm thankful that we can bring those resources that can assist California Capital's mission.
Thank you. And I know, Danielle, you do so many things. I mean, I saw a video a while back with you working with veterans, helping other people who have served in the armed forces to start their own businesses. You also help women veterans dress for success. You ran the Chamber of Commerce in Natomas. What's your main focus now? Is it women entrepreneurs, or is it working with women and men? How can people work with you too?
Oh, thank you for that. I work with both women and men, primarily at the Women's Business Center though. However, the bulk of clientele is women. And in the veteran space, often I work with women veteran entrepreneurs as well. My focus is business development. So everything from creating a business plan to implementing strategic plans for growth, for succession, if that's where people are, for government contracting, and anything and everything in between.
And I know you also mentioned that you're doing something with the U.S. Census. Can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so the U.S. Census chose 5 veterans to discuss their stories and help to explain why it's important to make sure that your voice and your vote counts. I was one of the lucky veterans who was able to give that story. And speaking of from the stance as a woman, as a minority, as a business owner, and as a veteran, I'm able to give that perspective that maybe everybody is not privy to. So we are able to reach out to people who look like us, who think like us, who maybe don't feel that their voice matters as much, and bring them into that conversation that needs to be had.
Thank you for doing that. And before we move on, I mean, our interviews are so short and tight today, and I know I could talk to you forever. So we're going to come back with a roundtable after we've given everybody a chance to talk a little bit about what they do. But is there one big idea that you'd like to share with people?
I think that people just need to stand out in their truth, and understanding that as business owners, as entrepreneurs, we have the ability to change the world. We have the ability to start, uncomfortable conversations, especially in light of, the world events right now. But we don't need to be apologetic. We don't need to be afraid. And I think that it's often important to understand that not everybody knows everything. So waiting until you have all the answers before you launch that business or start that conversation, isn't something that we should wait for. It's uncomfortable sometimes. And when you put yourself out there as a business owner, it's, you know, sometimes a little scary, and because it's not a space that we've ever been in, but waiting until you have all of the answers or you have everything perfect, you know, it's something that never really comes. So I think it's important to just kind of step out and make things your own.
Thank you so much. And I know, Danielle, we talked about leading some webinars together with What Now at Next in California Capital. So I look forward to figuring out ways that we can really start some interesting conversations. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I know now Peggy is going to talk to Tina Reynolds from Uptown Studio. So.
Yep, I'm real excited to introduce Tina Reynolds. Tina is chief juggler and founder of Uptown Studios. She has also founded the Women Up Power Network. She is a mentor to many small business owners and women entrepreneurs, both through the Power Up Network and elsewhere. And Tina is also a committee and a board member of numerous nonprofits. Tina, you call yourself a chief juggler at your company, Uptown Studios. And that's such a fun image. You've got so much enthusiasm, and it seems to be one of the most powerful tools in your toolbox as a leader in the Sacramento business community. So I'm curious if you can share with us, you know, you've got, I think, more than 13,000 followers on Twitter, and, you know, this many members in the Power Up, Women Up Power Network. So clearly a lot of people want to follow your lead, and we want to know if you can share a little bit about your leadership style and how you make all that happen.
Yeah, it goes back to the early 90s. I had a job as a marketing director for a social marketing group called Teens Stopping AIDS. And we learned all about social marketing. And the theme of social marketing, when you boil it all down, it has to be three things. Every campaign you do has to be three things. It has to be easy, fun, and popular. If you guys have ever seen me speak, you've heard me say it. I say it over and over again. It has to be easy to do. It has to look like fun, and it has to make you more popular. Then you're going to have a successful campaign. So since the early 90s, I have become easy, fun, and popular. And if it doesn't look like fun, I don't want to do it. It's like I say yes to a lot of stuff, but I don't say yes to stuff that sounds like hard and dreary and boring. It's like, I just don't. And so I can bring my enthusiasm to all the things that I say yes to. And I say yes to a lot of things because it's really fun. And California Capital, it's like I was doing free trainings before Sophia started and before Mike was there. We go way back early when the Women's Business Center first started and provided hundreds of trainings for free. And what it does is a reputation building, and it's a community building, and we're invested in community.
That's really fantastic. It's really inspiring too. And I know that you go way back with California Capital, but you also have gone way back with Uptown Studios. I think you started in 1992, if I'm right. And so what propelled you to create it as a full service marketing firm? What propelled you to get that started? And tell us a little bit about your journey to become an entrepreneur.
So I started in 92. It was me, my computer, my three kids, and I started a graphic design business. And it was a graphic design business because there was no web, there was no social media, there were yellow page ads. It was me, and for 8 years I worked from home myself. And after 8 years I went, oh man, I need a damn vacation. I got to hire people. So in 98, I hired my first person and opened an office and went to work. And it was very quickly thereafter. Now we have a total of 18 employees, and it's expanded. And I'm no longer a graphic designer, I'm a business owner. And so the growth has been, my strategy for growth has been, when I'm working 14 to 16 hours a day, I can do that for 3 months. And if it's steady at 14 to 16 hours a day, then it's time to hire another person. And then I have to figure out who to hire, and then I pass off a bunch of the work. And so it's like been this process of me working to my busting point, hiring somebody, going back to regular hours, and then passing it off and hiring really, really good people. I think all of the employees that I have all stalked me because they want to work at a place that is like Uptown Studios. We do full service marketing, web, graphics, video, social media management. If you can see it, we can do it. We've done bus wraps and billboards and building wraps, down to little swag items with a little tiny logo on it. So if you can see it, we can do it.
That's really
And that's how I built my business. Yeah.
That's such a great concept around how to build your business. It's really trusting your own gauge and using your own gut, more or less, to really say, here's how we grow. It's based on this step, kind of plan steps forward. So I've not had the opportunity to visit your office, but I've seen pictures and it looks like a really fun place to work. And tell us a little bit about, now that you are 18 employees, that's a lot of people to manage. How do you work with your team, and how does your team get coached to engage with your clients?
Yeah. So we have a different type of a business model. It's the self-managed model. We started this about 4 years ago. We have a great big warehouse. It used to be Bob's Glass that we converted into our studio. So it's open space. You can see it on our website. Nice open space that's really empty now because there's one person there that's managing the building and everybody else is working remotely. And I think many of the people are going to want to stay remote. So it's like, why do I have a building? I mean, people are starting to think about that. So this self-managed model, it started about 4 years ago because I got tired of people coming into my office saying, I don't know what to do. And I would always say, well, I could Google it, or you could. So why don't you Google it first and then come back and let me know. So we really started on this self-management model. There's many businesses that do it. It's called the TEAL model, T-E-A-L. And what we do is we elevate everybody to the same level. There's just no hierarchy. I'm not a boss. I am a coworker and a mentor. And we have project managers. We tried to do away with titles, but that didn't quite work. Everybody knows in work, everybody has a title. A project manager, we know what they do. An art director, we know what they do. A web developer. So we still have titles, but everybody's on the same level. Whether you're the maintenance person or me, we're all on the same level. The only option that I have is I get to sign checks. So it gives me a little more power that I don't want. But everybody has settled into it. When we first started, everybody went, oh, I self-manage, I'm going into a silo. And they started working by themselves. And then it took us another 4 years to get everybody to see that there are teams, that you have to work within your team. You have to make team agreements. You have to make big Uptown Studios agreements, and then there's a web team agreement, and then there's the creative team agreement. So by empowering them to come up with their own space and hours, they can come in when they want, they can leave when they want, they have to meet their obligations, and they're responsible to their teams. So it's that self-responsibility that we're really building. And when I first started, I lost 8 people because they wanted to manage people. And now I have a full team of really people that are eager to work and be responsible for themselves.
It's really great, Tina. It's really a great role model and, business shape for other people to see as a way to move forward as they, aim to grow their business too. So just one last question for you. What's one big idea that you'd like to leave people with as something that you know and you want to share with other business owners?
I think one of the biggest ideas that have made me successful is to say yes. It is, first I had 2 criteria. When I turned 50, I made a rule, no more assholes. Pardon my French, but you all have been around them. I went, no more. I don't want them. I'd have no space for them. Every time I could eliminate an asshole from a project, it would open up so that I could have 10 cool clients. So you have to learn how to trust. I mean, we did a whole training on no more assholes a couple of weeks ago on Facebook Live, and it was, how do you get rid of them once you find that they've snuck in? you just have to trust your gut that this is not a good thing. Another thing is that you need to be able to take a high road when you get rid of the people that are jerks. You have to say, this is no longer a good fit. You can't yell at my employees. You can't swear at my employees. You know, whatever is the reason that this client is being a jerk, you can't push, you have to pay your bills on time, whatever that is. You can say, this is no longer a good fit, and I have decided that we have to end our relationship, and here's all your stuff, and as soon as you pay me, I'll give you your stuff. I think trust yourself. Know when those people are in, because they're taking up a huge amount of space. Get rid of them. Hemorrhoids gone. Hemorrhoids be gone.
That's great. Thank you so much, Tina.
Sure.
I appreciate it. And now I'm going to pass it over to Joanne, and she's going to talk with Mimi Donaldson.
So now we're going to get a chance to meet Mimi Donaldson, who is the founder and president of Mimi Speaks, a TED Talk coach, communications expert, and the author of Pitch Perfect, Speak to Grow Your Business in 7 Simple Steps. And Mimi, I know we can all use your coaching, working on speeches. I know I always get nervous before it's my turn to have a conversation with a group. So thank you so much for being here today. And I can't wait to start finding out more about what you do. I know that you, Mimi, you started your career as a keynote speaker yourself. And you spoke to groups as large as 1,400 people, really holding them captivated by what you were saying. And over the years, you've segued from being a speaker yourself to teaching other people how to do that, how to do TED Talks, and how to communicate more effectively. Can you tell us about that career journey? Mimi,
sure. Thank you. I'm having a Cass Elliot moment when at Monterey Park, Mama Cass is in the audience. I'm listening to Tina Reynolds, and Mama Cass is in the audience, and Janis Joplin's on stage, and Mama Cass, the camera catches her, and she's going, wow. She's saying, wow. She can't believe what she just, so Tina Reynolds, you rock. I'm like, okay, so that's what I'm having. I flashed on Mama Cass. Yeah, my biggest audience was 17,000 people. Thank you very much. In the Milwaukee Convention Center. It was all the Northwestern Mutual Life agents who had made $1 million, no, it was all of them. That was plus the $1 Million Roundtable. So yeah, keynote to keynote coach. It was an interesting confluence of events. The first thing was I was coaching my women business owner friends because they said, I have to talk about my business, Mimi. Can you help me? Oh, sure. So I called it mentoring. I loved it. My favorite course to teach was effective presentation skills. I love doing that. Then what happened is I'm on the keynote stage and I end up watching the women in the front row talking about me and what I just said. And I thought, oh, I wish I could be down there. And then I found myself looking at my watch. Well, when I look at my watch, whether I was working in corporate or whatever, it means time to leave. The minute I look at my watch, it's like, uh-oh, I'm not into this 100% anymore. So sure enough, my friend, I had coached her with a speech, and she said the 7 words that changed my life. She said, I would have paid you for this. And I went, what? And it was like this big 12 years ago. And sure enough, it got me into individual coaching, and people want to be funny, and I can find the funny even in the driest, most boring looking speech. So
what about people who don't want to be funny? What about people who?
Oh, that's fine. That's easier. That's easier. That you just have to listen to yourself, and you have to speak so the audience is going, nodding and smiling the whole time. In other words, you have to answer the questions in their minds. It's not about what you want to say. That's an interesting switch.
I know you said that you teach your clients to lead with the need, right? And that's all about being interested, getting people interested in what you're saying. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. That's 7 steps, the title of my book. The first step always, if you come out there and go, let me tell you about me, unless they're ready for it, unless that's what they're paying for, they're not interested. They have their arms folded and they're looking at like you sideways, and they're looking at you and they go, well, why should I listen to you? What's in it for me? That's what they're asking you. So you better lead with some pain, some problem, some situation that they have, that you know they have, so that afterwards they uncross their arms and they say, ooh, you got me. Okay, you understand. So what's your solution? And then they're asking you for step 2, which is, what do you do that'll help me?
And then when you're working with people who are preparing for TED Talks, is it the same kind of thing? I mean, how does the coaching change there?
It's really fun. I think the TED Talk is the challenge. The 45-minute keynote, it always struck me as too long. So the 15-minute TED Talk, ooh, every sentence needs to be quotable. That's my standard. And there's no ums or uhs or fillers or anything. You don't have any. It's like working without a net. And I always tell people, some of the women on this call are ready for their TED Talks, Tina Reynolds. So I tell them, think about your legacy speech. God says you have 10 more minutes to live, but it has to be on the stage. The audience is the world. What can you not leave this earth without passing on? Wow. Most people get goosebumps and they go, oh, I know one of the things. Some people go, oh, I know 2. And some people say, wow, I've never thought about that before.
Well, I mean, that's kind of a wonderful thing to think about your legacy and that one idea. And I know we could go on talking forever, but I have to be cognizant of the time here. So
let's catch up. Let's do.
No, I want to ask you. I do want to ask you one more thing, which is, what is one idea that you want people to remember about your business, and one idea that you'd really like to share with us now?
Listen to yourself when you're talking. People ask how to overcome nervousness. You've got to love the words that you say. It's all about crafting the words that you love saying, because if you love saying those words and hearing those words, so will your audience. That's why I call myself a speech coach. We craft the speech or the sound bites or the panel contribution. Whatever it is that you need to do has to be carefully crafted. People are very sophisticated and they really want crafted messages, like they want crafted beer and cheese and bread.
No, that's great. And, you know, and again, we'll definitely continue the conversation, and we're going to be back for the roundtable to hear some more. And I know Peggy is going to be talking to Carla Bayat now, and Carla is the creator of Farmers Market on Wheels.
Yep, thanks, Joanne. So I'm real excited to introduce Carla Bayat. She is started her career in hardware engineering and design, and she's worked for lots of Silicon Valley companies like Cisco, Apple, and Microsoft. She has led the design and manufacture of all kinds of products, from satellites to Xbox, which is so interesting. She's been hired by VCs as a consultant to mentor startups that they've invested in. And this year, Carla decided to pivot and follow her passion to build things that can help others. And she created Farmers Market on Wheels. So that's a really interesting business. Carla, you decided to create this business really just a short while ago. And in fact, I think you launched in just 3 weeks. So can you tell us how you pulled that amazing feat off, and really what propelled you to create Farmers Market on Wheels in the first place?
Actually, we kind of started out of necessity because of the COVID-19 shelter in place. And my husband and I are avid farmers market shoppers every Saturday. It's the one thing that we're very religious about. And so when the shelter in place happened on the last, I think it was the third week of March, we found out that our farmers market was closing. And so I spoke to our farmers market merchant, Judy. And so I said, hey, do you deliver fresh produce? She was like, I can if you find me 6 people. And then I said, okay. I found her 20 using Nextdoor. So I'm not that savvy with social media apps and stuff, but I'm very resourceful because of the fact that I've had so many jobs. So I don't work for too long. Sometimes I would have a year gig, but I like to plan out my time flexibly, where I work 3 to 4 months at a time and then take a break. So because hardware engineering is very demanding. And so I get this time to spend time with my family and do the farmers market thing. But when I do work for 3-4 months, it's pretty crazy. But anyway, so the 20 people turn into 40 the next week, in 2 weeks, just by word of mouth. And then the third week, my partner, Judy, she said, hey, Carla, can you build a website? And I was like, okay. And so at that time, our co-founder, Ethan Huang, also is a freshman at Stanford. And so he and I sat together and said, okay, let's put our heads together and let's build this. And so at that time, I was trying to build up the vendors and stuff and figuring out the whole logistics and operations. And then Ethan basically built the website along with me to test it out. And so we basically launched it in 3 days.
That's really cool, Carla. I mean, that's so fascinating how you did that. And it feels like you've really validated, your business, because you each week have these huge leaps forward in your growth. And it's also really cool that, so many people see this huge pandemic and they're kind of looking for ways to help, but, you really sort of very quickly leverage your expertise and you're doing something to help solve a problem within, your own area and with local people. And I understand that you also, in this real short time, have created some jobs for displaced workers from the farm community in your packing and distribution line. And can you tell us how you did that? Because you have a couple of different constituencies now that you're helping through Farmers Market on Wheels.
So the majority, actually all of them, not the majority, all of the farmers and small business markets have cut down their workforce. So one example is that she had 15 people, now she has 2. And so what happens is that some of those people who were displaced would have to take on different roles. And so as we grew, we had to find some people who help us pack. And so at that time, like people who used to till the land, harvest and stuff. And then, so we were able to give them packaging jobs or delivery and such. And so the other thing too, that I'm pretty happy about is so like what I said a while ago, I tutor math. And so not that my interns need tutoring because they're all brilliant. So I have 3 college interns. And so at that time, they're also kind of lost as to what to do during the shelter in place and, studying online. And so I've given them kind of like autonomy, like what kind of Tina said, where she gave them kind of she gave her workers this kind of creativity. I found that my interns are amazing, my college students, that they're so young and diverse that they're able to inject this need that we could help the farmers with. And so in turn, sometimes the farmers would say, hey, can you just sell this for me? And so they would just have boxes and boxes and say, hey, sell this. And then I'm like, hey, it's Sunday. How am I going to sell this? And so I immediately pull in all my guys and say, okay, I guess we'll just have to put it on Facebook. So my graphic artist, she's amazing. She puts these Photoshop things and then it's all of a sudden it's like a miracle. And then my editor, she's a UCLA editor for the UCLA Bruins. And she wrote this amazing stuff. And then so all of a sudden we sold it.
That's
So
really cool, Carla. I mean, it sounds like you have to be really fluid. You have to be really fast acting and responsive. And also that, you know, this business is just rapidly changing and growing week over week. So
yes.
can you tell people who would like to be a customer how they can work with you right now?
Well,
How do they do business with you?
well, right now, you mean the vendors or the customers?
Well, anybody who wants to purchase from the vendors that you're trying to help.
Oh, they should just shop online, because we cut out the middleman. So Judy actually was talking to me about, hey, let's stop talking to that distributor, because it's not helping the farmer. Because the farmer, so the problem is that the farmers have these prices, right? And so what we do is we add the fat on the price. As we add the fat on the price, we actually hired a very professional courier to make sure that, you know, these logistics are perfect, because it's only our responsibility to make sure that we actually deliver their product as is.
Okay.
And so what happens is that when you do that, you then have confidence in people. So we would love people to just buy from us from our farmers market, because it gives them the voice
Okay.
to create these prices. And right now we are kind of like in a standstill where we only have about 80 to 100 orders a week. And I would like more. I would like to be the point where we're the Instacart for farmers market. I mean, for farmers.
So anybody can go to farmersmarketonwheels.com and they can .org, and they can purchase subscription boxes or customizable boxes, right? And they can also choose how they want to have that delivery, if they want it weekly or monthly. It's very flexible in that way. So that's really cool as well,
yes.
that you offer that range of options. And then my last question for you is, what is your vision for Farmers Market on Wheels? Where do you think you'll be in 6 months?
Well, that's a tough one, because when people ask me that at startups, you know, what a vision is, it's usually an end game, right? You either do an M&A, or you exit as an acquirer, or you just get swallowed up by a big company and get ejected out. So for this one, it's a little hard, because I've been asked that many times, and the only thing I can say is that in 6 months, I'd like us to be bigger, and then the fact that the farmers have a bigger audience. And so audience for us is not like what Mimi is saying, right? The audience for them is actually getting their produce at your doorstep. And that's the most important thing for me. So in 6 months, I hope we have 500, 400 a week. And like what I said, I'd like to be the Instacart for Farmers Market on Wheels. And
that would be a great vision. I think that's a really cool vision, and I can see you doing that, Carla. So
I hope so.
We're all going to be cheering you on.
Well, I'm going to need some help from you guys.
We will be helping you. You have great listings in the marketplace. People can find you through your website or through your listings on our marketplace. So thank you for doing that, and we'll be watching.
You're welcome.
And now I know Joanne is going to talk with Constance Agee.
Yes, I'm going to be talking with Connie Agee, and Connie is the owner of the Agee Fashion Institute. She runs the Sewn Products Network and has worked really quickly and responsibly to help out with support during the COVID pandemic. She's a leader in Sacramento's maker community, and she's a California Capital counselor and instructor. You can find Connie's listings in our marketplace for the Fashion Institute, for her new Sewn Products Manufacturing Network. And I want to talk to Connie about the Agee Fashion Institute. I want to start off with that. So Connie, when you started your Fashion Institute really to help people make the transition from education to employment, and they graduate with a certificate. Is that right? And how does that work?
Great. Okay. So yes, the school basically is vocational education, and when I created the school, yes, it was because of what I discovered from going through art school, which is that you were coming out of art school or for fashion design or what have you, and you weren't going into your field, and people were going into things like working for a retail store, which is fine to start, but really what people want to do when they have a specific certificate or degree is go work for some sort of fashion house or build their skill for sewn products. Maybe it would lead them to someplace, some other avenue other than clothes. So yes, that's exactly what the intent was when we started the school. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and now you've kind of jumped on and created the Sewn Products Network to really, I mean, I know you said that you discovered through the pandemic that there were real problems with the manufacturing supply chain, and right? And that you were able to.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, we knew that before. Actually, Mike Schrimmer and I, being one of my counselors for a couple of years, we had that discussion a few years back regarding the manufacturing process. And that process is a part of the education to employment. So when the pandemic or the crisis actually happened, it kind of propelled us into that avenue more deeply than what we actually thought. Starting, of course, with masks and things, with the PPE, and now going even further into some other areas. And as far as the network is concerned, again, the timing was perfect because the students that I've had graduate with certificates now have come into the network and are starting to work their own system and earn extra money, or earn money, period. Maybe even the intention is to have them to start their business or start a business as far as manufacturing. Because as everyone knows, with the whole issue with the crisis is that manufacturing has to come back, and we're here to move individuals into that area with the education. And part of that education, in addition to what we do here at AFI, is through California Capital, like you mentioned, with our upcoming Sewn Products program. It's a 5-week program that's going to be coming up so that we can actually train people. And then it actually goes in this whole ecosystem circle to where they go into the network and then they start working, and everything is done at home. So, and that is perfect based on the distancing and so forth.
And I know that you said that as part of the Sewn Products Network, people can really scale it up or scale it down.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's a really huge part of it, because if a person wants to come in and say, hey, I want to join the network and I just want to sew and I need to make, whatever amount of money that they're trying to make, that's perfect. And some people are saying, I would really like to take this to the next level, to the business level. And then that's when we actually refer them back to California Capital for the business side of it, because we want them to understand the process of actually getting that business started, how they can start getting contracts, how they can work further with us if they want to, subcontracting. So it becomes this whole nother level, as far as the circle or the ecosystem and how everything's working.
Which is fantastic. And it's a great service that you're providing. And I know that you're also part of the maker movement, and that you've been working with 3D printing, you've been working with digital manufacturing. Can you tell us about that part of what you're doing?
Yes, so I can only take a partial credit for that part of it, and that's from the education standpoint. And my partners, which is Symbio Prototyping Guild and also AMW Design, we have partnered together so that the 3D printing and the industrial, which is industrial cutting, and those other areas to deal with prototyping, we actually partner together and work out that portion of the training so that when those individuals work with us, or even if they just decide, I don't want to do the sewing part anymore, I want to go into more development, they're able to do that. So yes, it's a pretty exciting piece of it.
Very exciting. And again, because we only have a short amount of time, but what is like one big idea that you want people to know about working with you that you'd like to share?
Well, the one thing a big thing that I want people to know is that our main focus is getting people educated, getting them trained, and getting people to the point where they can work for themselves and earn a comfortable living for whatever it is that they want to do. And also on the other side of that, on the service side of that, is that people don't understand that 90%, probably 98% of our lives is in a sewn product. And so if you have a business and you feel like you have something that you would like to use to promote that business, and it's some sort of sewn product or soft product, we can help you out with that. We do the free consultations up for 20 minutes. They can contact me through the marketplace. Actually, I've already started receiving some inquiries, and we can help them out with that. So those are the two main things. Yeah.
That's great. And I'm really happy to hear that you're already having conversations in the marketplace. That's fantastic. And I know that Peggy is going to be talking with Cammy Flake now. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Peggy.
Thanks, Joe. So I'm excited to introduce Cammy Flake. Cammy is a multimedia storyteller and a video producer. She's worked in television as well as in advertising with some iconic brands like Apple and HP. She's also a documentary filmmaker, had a documentary short selected as one of the top 10 at the Bay Area Women in Film Showcase. And now Cammy is an entrepreneur and the owner of Cammy Flake Photography. So welcome, Cammy. And
Thank you.
Can you share a little bit with us about your journey as an entrepreneur? What propelled you to create your business?
Yes, thank you for that introduction, and really enjoyed listening to everyone's story. Wow, I'm really honored to be here. Yeah, I was propelled to start my own business after I had my son. Right before that, I started my career in media production. I worked in TV, and then I moved to New York for a while. And then I was in advertising, and then I met my husband, got married, and then I had my son. And I knew right after I had my son, I wasn't going to be able to maintain those hours. I would not be able to see him during his waking hours, but I still wanted to work. So it took me a few years to figure out what route I wanted to go. And I feel so fortunate because at that time, the cameras were becoming smaller because I'm a petite woman and really powerful. So logistically, I could actually be my own team for a while. And so I was out on a walk with a friend with our children, and she says to me, "So are you a photographer or not?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And I just claimed it, and she hired me, and that was my first professional job, as a business owner. And it's just been kind of growing and evolving.
That's great.
Ways ever since, yeah.
That's really cool. And I know a lot of people can relate to that kind of experience too. So two of your signature offerings are your legacy portraits and your video profiles that you create for small business owners and entrepreneurs. How did you come to create those offers and products, and how can people engage with you now to create things like that?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I've always loved documentary filmmaking. I love going deeper into somebody's stories, and I was feeling limited by just doing the photography. So I started doing videos. I got hired by my friend's dad, who is terminally diagnosed, and we created some videos for him to share with we did 3 for his wife, for his kids, and then 1 to be shown at his service. And I felt this is where I want to be. It felt like such meaningful work. And then I also do videos for the entrepreneurial story. I mean, listening to all of you, I could already see so many amazing stories, videos from you. So yeah, that's really how that all began.
That's really interesting. And it's powerful to be able to create those kind of stories. I mean, there's a lot of trust being placed in you to do something like that. So that must have been an interesting journey.
Yes.
You talked about how you could see the vision for the entrepreneurial stories that you're hearing now. And it's reminds me of how, one, storytelling is a big part of marketing a business, and visual storytelling is, yet another layer on top of that. And not many small business owners think in those terms. Mm-hmm. So how do you communicate the value of visual storytelling and help people understand you know, how it can help establish a business brand and get your authentic expression of your business out there?
Well, you know, as you know, that expression, a picture is 1,000 words. I feel like we can go deeper sometimes with an image, and with a mood. You can create a mood. You can really express who you are in a very authentic way when somebody can hear your voice, and go beyond just maybe a text on your website or any kind of motion. We all see ourselves in your story, and I feel like that really helps draw you in and connect. And that's the biggest thing. That's, I feel like we're all trying to do, is connect as humans, and then obviously as business owners, wanting to draw people into our products and our businesses.
Yeah, that's very true. And so many people have so much of themselves in their businesses as well. So that's a big part of it.
Yeah. And I do think that it's nice having somebody outside of your business or outside of your family to do this for you. I know when I first started, I tried to do some legacy sessions with my own family, and it can become very emotional. But when I do it for others, I can really go deep. I can really ask those questions and bring out those stories that we all want to save and hold on to.
That's great, Cammy. Thank you so much. And I look forward to you joining us in the roundtable and sharing more of that intelligent insight.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And now we're going to switch over to Joe and Serena Simon.
So now we're going to, yes, as Peggy said, we're going to meet my friend Serena Simon, who is a serial entrepreneur and independent consultant. She started her career in multimedia software, creating games, educational products, online learning, and she's been a serial entrepreneur. She's now the co-founder of Sparkworks, a full-service digital AR studio. And Serena, you really are an internet pioneer. I mean, you were working in multimedia back in the 80s, long before, I don't even know, did the internet exist then? It's certainly long before any of us had heard about the internet, and you're still going strong. So I want to talk to you now about something new that you're doing that you didn't expect to be doing, which is related to all of the online learning that you were doing and the platforms that you were creating way back when. And now with COVID, there's an enormous need for that knowledge that you have. So how has that changed your trajectory or what you're doing at the moment?
Well, that's a good question. By the way, it's fun to see all my hairstyles. You've collected slides for many years. This is actually my real hair. Right hair was trying to really survive in a corporate environment, and I know that there have actually been some books that deal with this issue of curly hair versus straight hair. So anyhow, I'm happy to say I'm back to my real hair. My company had just pivoted right before COVID hit. We went from largely providing a lot of online learning, servicing a lot of clients with more traditional web and game products and mobile applications. And then COVID hit, and it was a repivot because ironically and unexpectedly, our business started growing. We've actually added a lot of staff since COVID because the folks that knew us from our e-learning and distance learning and training came back to us. So the kind of sad side is that we had to put our augmented reality, mixed reality, futuristic aspirations to the side and pay attention to where the market was. So,
and I know that sometimes your partners are not all that happy about that, right?
That is true.
And I know as a woman leading a company, sometimes with men, there are different kinds of conversations that happen. And I know that, but are you hoping that you will get back to AR, or, you know, do you think you're going to be focused more on the online learning for a while?
Well, I definitely think there's a hope that we will get back to AR or mixed reality. But for right now, clients are really focusing on must-haves, not the, gee, wouldn't it be nice, or, you know, nice to have features. And we're going where the business is. You know, it's very interesting work we do, but it's not, for example, a labor of great love, for example, like the farmer's market, where that you really want to do because you're helping people, et cetera, et cetera. Moving on to augmented and mixed reality was very much a business decision. And yes, many of the males that work with and for me really want to be in the forefront all the time. I'm getting a little tired of the forefront, actually. So.
Right. But I think it's also really interesting that as women who have careers and that have an ongoing journey, and you know, there's so many things that we've learned over the years that come in handy, and you certainly are emblematic of that. I mean, you've done so much in learning, and you're certainly doing that again, which is great. I mean, you're also, I know you work as a consultant and you have your own business. What are some of the other ways that you want to know, to let people know about how they can work with you now, or how you'd like to be working now beyond the online learning?
I definitely like the consulting role, and I'm super interested in working with young women who are confronting all kinds of challenges. Gosh, I'm losing. I say, you know, they can contact me. I would say contact my company as well. I work with some terrific people, and we're very, very forthright and honest with people. If we can help you, we're going to help you. And if we can't, we'll help you find somebody who can. And I think that's kind of something that's always been very important to me. And right now, I'm trying really to look at change as a choice, not a burden. So we're all confronting the COVID situation. Many of us are being forced to change our ambitions to meet where the market is. And I'm really thinking about, can I look at this as a choice, and can it take me somewhere more interesting in the future, and maybe even better than what I'm doing now? So.
No, I mean, I think that's an incredibly wise way to approach it. And I think that, you know, a lot of people are just kind of like wringing their hands and kind of, you know, really feeling that they don't know where to go. But we do have to pivot, because we all have to adjust to the new challenges that we're facing. So,
right. In this possibility, are we going to return to how it was? Maybe, but maybe we as business owners won't even want to. So for example, when Tina talks about having a building, and what am I doing? Why do I need that building? I mean, yes, what time, thank God, we hope will come when everybody can congregate again in a building, but maybe it's better without a building. So I think we just have to be open to it. And to the extent that I'm a pioneer, Joanne, I don't know how I feel about being that, but, and I had a boss, and you've probably heard this cliche, the pioneers are the people with their arrows in their back. I've made a lot of pivots over my life, and mostly it's been a good thing. It makes my life way more interesting, and my services made way more valuable to other people. So.
Wow, thank you. I mean, I definitely look forward to continuing this conversation with all of us. I know I just want to say one thing, which is I think that we were going to have the roundtable right after this interview, but I think we may have to shift and show our marketplace, because sadly, this event ends at 2:30, and we want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to know how to benefit from using the marketplace. But now I think, so thank you for sharing that wisdom, Serena. And I know now Peggy's going to be talking with Dr. Amy Kojet, or Kojet. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce your name, but I'm sure Peggy does.
Thanks, Joe. And just to clarify, we're ending at 11:30, not 2:30. I think you're East Coast, and people might start panicking, thinking we're going to be here much longer. So we have 20 more minutes, and we will just kind of pivot in our presentation as well. But I'm real excited to introduce Amy Kojet, who is got a really cool job, founder and CEO of Happiness for Humankind. She consults with businesses, media companies, nonprofits, individuals, and families. She's a coach and a workshop leader. She used, her approach is based on positive psychology, and she's the author of two business books, Happiness Playbook and Find Your Blissful Calling. So welcome, Amy.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me, Joanne, Peggy, and all the ladies out there.
Thank you for joining. So what a fun job description you have, Amy. You're passionate about helping people live happier lives. What could be, what could be wrong with that? I'm intrigued by your approach, which is holistic, and you bring together science and positive psychology in a way that focuses on helping people generate more happiness in their lives. So tell us how that all works.
Well, great. Well, again, thanks for having me. And I was blessed when I was 19. I'm 44 now. So when I was 19, I realized that I had a calling in life, which was to help millions of people live happier lives. And then I was like, well, that's nice, Amy. How are you going to achieve that? And so I studied actually happiness at work. I never heard anyone say, yay, it's Monday. I still have yet to hear that, actually. And so I studied, I have a PhD, master's and undergrad, all in organizational psychology with an emphasis in like positive leadership, positive psychology, and so on. And my dissertation was actually on feminine authentic leadership. And so I have a very special place in my heart for helping women be the unapologetically you that, somebody said earlier. So my trajectory of my career, since it started fairly young, my first job out of college was a happiness coordinator on a trading floor. And due to, which was very exciting. And I also saw the group that I helped grew 4 times and made 4 times the amount of money, and 0 people quit during that time. And due to some office politics, my job was eliminated. I was given some severance, and I started my coaching company way back in 2003. And then I started the Happiness Makeover program in 2006, which is a succinct program that helps people become empowered, develop a positive mood whenever they want, resilient to the point of laughing at your happiness challenges, developing deep inner contentment, sense of fulfillment, and even achieving states of bliss and joy. Woo! And in a time when we have COVID, where joy is, far from anywhere out there in the world, then, where are we now? Where are we now? Where we are scared, we are anxious, we are depressed, we have no idea what tomorrow is going to bring. All of our things that we've relied on for our happiness are now gone. And so we're seeing a huge problem in mental health, and I'm working to scale happiness in a multitude of ways, through books, through AI, through workshops, through Zoom circles, through retreats, in any way I possibly can.
That sounds great, Amy. I think that's something that everyone can really tap into. But one of the things I wanted to ask you is, the life of a small business owner is often a roller coaster ride. And now, as you pointed out, there's a whole nother layer of crises that we're dealing with in our lives. So if you could offer an entrepreneur one bit of, one tidbit of wisdom on how they can continue to tap into their equilibrium and even more happiness as they navigate all of these balls in the air, what would that be?
Mm-hmm. Well, just 2 quick things, actually 3 points. One is ask for help. A lot of us have a hard time asking for help in general. Like, we would rather die a lot of times than ask for help. And so it took me once 5 years to ask for help. And so instead of waiting around to get yourself to ask for help, just ask for help maybe 5 times a day. Challenge yourself, ask for help. And then I'll leave you with a little tidbit that I like to call the happiness seatbelt. So the seatbelt has 2 straps, one that goes over your shoulder, one that goes over your waist, just like every seatbelt. And so this one is live in this moment and choose happiness. And remember, your brain expands when you are happy and constricts when you're unhappy. And so entrepreneurs, we have to be creative. We have to be able to pivot. We have to go with the flow. We have to figure it out. There's zero people's going to figure it out for us. And so we want to put on our happiness seatbelt, live in this moment, choose happiness, and then your brain's going to work a lot better.
That's great. I think asking for help is brilliant advice for women entrepreneurs, and as is all the rest of it too. So thank you so much, Amy. Okay, Joe, I know you have Jackie Warner to talk to right now, so I will let you take that away.
Okay. Yes, thank you. We're going to meet Jackie, who creates visual strategies for women entrepreneurs, helping them to communicate their brands in beautiful and authentic ways, and also has a creative studio in San Anselmo available for product shoots, headshots, and a playground for collaboration, which I want to talk about because I love that idea. And Jackie has her studio called and I think I'm pronouncing it correctly or saying it correctly, 94960 Art. So Jackie, I know that when we talked last week, you told me that you started as a lawyer and you spent 17 years working in the tech sector. And then you got really, really tired of meeting your husband at the airport and handing off your kids while he was jumping on one plane and you were jumping on another plane, which sounds pretty upsetting and doing that for a long period of time. So how did you make the choice to segue to becoming an entrepreneur and to starting a photography studio and business? How did that happen?
Well, basically, I guess I just figured out that was the only thing that I could do that would actually bring joy to my life, which was kind of important at the time. I wasn't actually a lawyer. I was going to school, just to caveat that. But I did work a very long time in tech, and you know, the boys club and the nonstop, you know, stress and multi-million-dollar quotas was overwhelming. And so I found that my soul was being crushed. And I think this might resonate with a lot of people when you find yourself in a career and you're sitting, looking around going, how did I end up here? And I was very, very fortunate in that we were able to relocate out of San Francisco into a small suburb. And I found myself with a little bit of money to invest in some school. I went back to school and started a master's program in fine art photography, and then just kind of started calling myself a photographer, and that's kind of what happened. And I guess just to, you know, shortcut it a little bit, about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, with the technology background that I had, I found myself starting to coach people on web design. It was just kind of a natural marriage between what I had been doing and what I was doing, because I was creating these beautiful images for women, and then they were landing on websites that were less than, you know, not optimized, that sort of thing. So I started getting frustrated, like, So I started stepping into that role as well. So that's kind of how I ended up here.
And I love the way you combine those two aspects of your knowledge base, the technology piece and the photography beauty piece. And what made you feel compelled to work with women entrepreneurs? Is that mainly who you work with in terms of, because I know you said you want to help people share their work beautifully, share it authentically. Tell me a little bit about that. Tell us about that.
So some of the first people I worked with were women that I would come into contact with, a lot of women who were similar to me, that were trying to shift gears, moving away from something that wasn't fulfilling them, moving into something that they were very excited about with limited resources, et cetera. And so I found myself really drawn to those projects because those are the women that were just like me, right? They're the ones that were putting themselves on the line, you know, hoping that they're going to find some joy in the next chapter of their life. And so I immediately found myself excited, truly passionate about putting myself in the driver's seat with them and helping them, you know, map out where their next road was going to be. And it's not just so much, you know, with the photography, because behind the photography is a lot of discovery, you know, trying to figure out what story you're trying to tell and how you want to tell it. So,
and before we start sharing the marketplace, I want to know basically a little bit more about your creative playground, which sounds like a fantastic idea. I think we'd all like to join you there right now. So how do people work there?
So what I've done essentially is over the years working with creative marketing people, with other photographers, web designers, graphic designers, is I've just kind of created this space I'm actually in it right now where when I'm working with people, collaborating, if we're working with similar clients, if we're working on similar projects, I just invite folks in and or they reach out to me and we kind of sit and do just that. I mean, this is a place that I've created for my community to not only host, you know, small workshops, meetings, that sort of thing, but also to come in and just kind of roll up your sleeves and collaborate on what's coming up next for you. So,
such a great idea. I'd love to join you there. And when we can all come out of our houses, I'm gonna definitely come over and see what we can create together. And is there one big idea that you'd like to leave us with before we start showing our marketplace to everybody?
I think it would be echoing a lot of the things. I mean, Danielle, I think you said it first, and Mimi, you're saying the same thing. I mean, what makes a difference with imagery and the message that you send online, for so many people are having to pivot away from that face-to-face kind of natural go-to interaction with folks, is that all of a sudden our imagery, our face, the words that we put out into the world are so very, very important. And so what I would say is be honest with who you are and have that guide your imagery, because if you look at images of people that all kind of look the same, and I'm guilty of it. I had someone else take that picture that you guys just saw, but that's not the one that I would normally do, is that you want to make that image memorable, and you want to make it authentic. You want to make it authentically you, whether it's, you know, putting on your lipstick funky or jumping or whatever it is. That's going to be the image that people are going to remember, and that's what they're going to take with them. Otherwise, you know, you're just another face in the crowd, and that's not what any of you ladies are, and not what any of us are. And so I think the impression, if we're true to who we are, we need to be honest with our audience about that person.
Love that. Thank you so much, Jackie.
Sure.
Really appreciate it. I know, Peggy, now you're going to walk us through our marketplace and help people understand how to become part of it and what it is that we're doing with California Capital now in Northern California.
Yes, I am. Thank you. And, you know, we are pivoting a little bit right now because we have had such great conversations that we have kind of compressed our time. But we'll also compress this overview. And I just want everyone to see a little bit of a taste of what our marketplace is about and bring forward some of the features that are really available to women business owners here that are not always apparent when you just go to the front door. And first of all, I should say every one of the women you have, you know, heard from today has a profile here. You can find them here, and you can find their products and services and connect with them through the marketplace. You as a business owner can create your own profile, list your own products and services. You can also find their projects and opportunities that may be of interest to you, and they range from anything from help wanted listings where people may be looking to hire somebody. There are funding announcements and grant programs, and there are numerous workshops, events, and webinars that help you advance your training and education. We also have a number of marketing tools. So every time that you create a listing in our marketplace, it will go out in our newsletter automatically. There are ways for you to create marketing offers, promotions, and giveaways. And there are other women business owners in the media space who are offering PR and media opportunities. There's also a lot of tools for you to connect and team up and network with other people without having to be out there, you know, meeting face to face. You can use our conversation app to message privately and inquire about services, or just tap someone's expertise. You can tap into our regular online meetups that are like this, but more informal and are just really about giving and getting advice. And then there's a number of things that our members share in terms of giveaways where they're looking to share their expertise, whether it's a finance expert giving QuickBooks Online starter sessions or other kinds of expertise as well. So I hope you'll join us. Then just so you can see how this works and where to go. We are at marketplace.whatnowwhatnext.com. You can find lots of information here. You can go directly to California Capital's page where you learn more about California Capital, and you can find everything to do with their listings. Here's, for example, one coming up later in June that is about a training that's related to the California Capital Small Business Working Group. And for those who are not yet members, this red sign up button is on every page at the top. Just click here, join, and create your profile. And once you create your profile, you can create a listing. So thank you guys.
I know we only have a few more minutes because we're scheduled to end at 2:30, but I want to say thank you so much to all of you amazing women who shared your stories today, who shared your advice today, who shared strategies today. I'm so happy that you're all part of our marketplace and that you took the time in this really crazy, challenging time to join us. And I look forward to many, many more conversations like this in our marketplace on a full range of topics, because as women entrepreneurs, we really have a true gift of being able to support each other, to listen to each other compassionately with some kind of empathy, to really help each other during this really, really difficult time. And Peggy and I feel very fortunate that we have this new partnership with California Capital, with Sophia and Mike, and Danielle and Connie and Tina and everybody else who works with California Capital, and to really be able to support women, to support all of us in ways that keep our businesses going, keep our businesses growing, and enable us not just to survive, but to thrive. So I really, really I'm very grateful for all of you joining us. And I hope that everybody else who's come today and who hasn't joined our marketplace yet will create a listing and become part of our community.
Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate the time and the expertise that everyone has donated here and has added such a rich conversation. I hope we keep that conversation going on our platform. And if anyone in the audience needs any help with getting started, just reach out to Joanne or I, and we can give you any pointers or just help get you on board. So, thank you again. I want to further what Joanne was saying, and we appreciate everyone's participation.